Okay, welcome back again, students. Now we are on part 4 of lesson 3.2. We've got just a couple more examples. These are word problems that we want to work out using linear equations. So our first one here says Samuel has $2,500 in savings after 5 weeks on the job. His rate of earnings is $200 a week. Can you write an equation that shows the amount Sam has in savings, Y, after X week of earnings? Again, hint, you have two pieces of information. What are those two pieces of information? Well, we know a couple of things, and these are actually coordinates on our system. We know that when x is 5, so 5 weeks, right, because x is weeks, we know that after 5 weeks, he has $2,500, okay? And the other piece of information, it says his rate of earnings is $200 a week. Well, what does that mean, rate? Well, rate is our slope. So M equals 200. So these are good pieces of information. We can now insert these into an equation, and we can actually solve and find what the y-intercept of that equation is going to be. So we know y is $2,500, and that is equal to 200 times 5 weeks, plus b. And when we solve for that equation, we'll find that b is equal to $1,500, okay, and that is our y-intercept. So our equation then is f of x is equal to 200x plus 1,500. And there's our equation. So now it says, what is the y-intercept of this equation? What does this mean? Well, the y-intercept is the $1,500 he starts with. So he already started with some money. So now we want to get these. Solve for 7. So what does that 7 mean? Well, that means 7 weeks. If we solve for 7 weeks, we're going to find that he's going to have $2,900 after 7 weeks, right? And all we had to do was plug that back into our original equation. 7 times 200, that's 1,400. 1,400 plus 1,500 is 2,900. Okay, and then we have this next example. Solve for blank 5,000. So basically what we want to know now is how many weeks is it going to be until he has $5,000. So we can take the 5,000 and put it into the equation. 5,000 would go in for f of x, or y, and then we can solve, and when we do that, we would find that x would be equal to 17 and a half weeks to save $5,000. Okay, that's what it would take. Because again, we're putting in to the equation 5,000 is equal to 200x plus 1,500. We take 1,500 from both sides, we're going to get roughly 3,500 is equal to 200x. 3,500 divided by 200, we get 17 and a half. Okay? All right. So now let's look at our last example. Last example says, the number of cubic feet of water, Y, in a reservoir X hours after the water starts flowing into the reservoir is a linear function. The points 43,000 and 64,000 are on the line of the function. Find the linear equation that models this situation. So again, we've got a couple of coordinates. So first step is to find the slope. So I'm going to take 4,000 minus 3,000 over 60 minus 40. and we get a slope of 50, okay? And then y is going to equal 50x plus b. And now we want to actually solve for b, so I'm just going to put in one of these coordinates in for x and y. I'm going to choose to put in 3,000 for y. And that equals 50 times 40 plus b. And we get that b is going to equal 1,000, right? Because 50 times 40, it's going to be 2,000. Subtract that from 3,000, we get 1,000. So that means that our function, f of x, is equal to 50x plus 1,000. Okay, pretty simple once we get the equation. So then we want to know, what is the y-intercept and what does it tell us? Well, the y-intercept is going to be 1,000 feet, okay? 1,000 cubic feet, sorry, because it is cubic feet. Starts in the reservoir. Okay, so that's how much we start with. And then it wants to know, what is the x-intercept and what does it tell us? Well, to find the x-intercept, all we really have to do is just put in 0 for y. If we put in 0 for y, we could calculate that, and that's going to be negative 20 hours when there is 0 water. So no water at all, because again, y is telling us how many cubic feet of water we have. Well, how far back would we have to go back in time to have 0 cubic feet of water? So we put 0 in for the function. 0 equals this. So if I take 0 equals 50x plus 1,000, subtract 1,000 from both sides. So I get 50x equals negative 1,000. And if I divide negative 1,000 by 50x, I get negative 20 hours. Okay? All right. Okay, so then we want to know, when will the reservoir have 200 feet of water in it? So we can just simply put that in for y. 200 equals 50x plus 1,000. And again, I can subtract 1,000 from each side. So that's going to give me negative 800 is equal to 50x. Divide both sides by 50. And we get that x would equal negative 16 hours. And that's how we can use a linear equation to work through some simple word problems.